victory there. Let it be known. This. Give me a second. This really is the season of joy. It really is. But the other side of the coin of joy is peace. Isn't it? Two sides of the same coin. And for our sister Andre, I feel so much peace. The joy that I feel is knowing that life is eternal. And we are so blessed here to know that. We know that there is no opposite of life. The opposite of birth is death. And Andre came into this world in a body and loved and lived and was the light. And she left this body. And the body passed on, but her spirit is eternal. And it reminds me always that that is what we celebrate at the time of Christmas. I grew up Christian, so I talk about it. I had the magic of Christmas. And I really believed that that is such a wonderful thing. So I know ministers and friends of mine and practitioners, they say, I would never teach my children about Santa Claus. It's such a big lie. I'm like, what's the lie? It's the truth, but we see everywhere. Believe. Maybe not in the magic anymore. We call it the miracle of love, the miracle of life. Because we know, even before the Christ, Jesus, the man, was born, that we celebrated in the winter solstice, in the longest, darkest nights. We celebrated the coming of the spring. We celebrated something that we could not see. And we didn't just believe that it would come, the spring would come. We knew it beyond a shadow of a doubt. We knew that there was a light that lights us up from within. We know it. We still know that. The Christ presence within, the life eternal that is within. And we celebrate that in the star at the top of the tree. We celebrate that in the Hanukkah candles. When we light the candles and we sing, we light the menorah, we realize that even in the midst of war, we trust that there is a light that goes on for days and days. We call it a miracle. But it's not. One day we'll call it the normals. We'll call it the normals of the principle of love expressing itself, which goes beyond all natural laws. It just does. Life is forever living itself. You know, I have a saying, I've said it before, that enlightenment, I call it enlightenment, is right where you are. Being who you are, doing exactly what you are doing, being with whomever you are with, and seeing the God in it, seeing the good in it. That is enlightenment, right there in that moment. We could substitute any word for that. Joy is right where you are, doing whatever it is that you're doing, and seeing the good and the God in it. And perfect peace that passes human understanding, because it's not human. It is our divine peace. Our birthright is right where we are, doing exactly what we're doing, being with whomever we are with. There is peace the moment we recognize it. Unconditional love is right where we are. Infinite potential and creativity is right where we are. We need to claim it. We stop the thoughts of what we are doing, what we've done, what we should have been doing, what we will do, what we could have done, and we just be present. And there is light that lights up our soul right there. You know, the secret of joy, well, I'll say, you know, I put this on my Facebook, and I'll have to repost it. Look for it tomorrow. I'll repost it. I have the key to happiness. I'm going to give you the key to happiness, so listen up. This is it. The key to happiness is being happy. There you go. The big revelation. The key to happiness is being happy, is being right where you are, doing exactly what you are doing, and seeing God in it. But as I say that, I will talk about the difference between happiness and joy. We use those words interchangeably, yes, we always do. But conventionally, the word happiness is what we perceive as the opposite of unhappiness. So we have something that makes us happy. Oh, you gave me a gift. Oh my gosh, how did you know? I'm so happy. Thank you. Or you ran me off the road in my car. Oh my gosh, how could you do that? I can't believe you almost killed me. I'm so unhappy. Why is this happening to me? So it is our reaction to things that are happening. It is an emotion that comes up that we react to a situation, to events, to people around us, or to even memories that we bring up. They can make us happy, or they can make us sad, or somewhere in between. But joy is our nature. It is our birthright. It is the truth of who and what we are, and it is available to us in every moment, in any moment, where we choose to realize that right where we are, doing exactly what we are doing, being with whomever we are with, there is God. And there is joy, and there is light, there is creativity, there is peace, there is unconditional love. And it is right where we are. It is God's desire to be expressed in and as us. There is no God. Nobody has seen God. Even Moses saw the burning bush. No one has seen God, but we see its results. We know that we are created in the image and likeness of God itself. God doesn't wrap its arms around us. We do. We hug each other. We hold each other. We lift each other up with our words, with our intentions, with our thoughts and our prayers. We are God expressed. And in this season, isn't it wonderful that we have this month where we have songs like that? Let it be Christmas everywhere. Let it last through the whole year. Let this feeling where we wish joy and peace upon everyone. But we cannot give the gifts that are our birthright to anyone unless we have learned to receive them ourselves. We can't truly give anything unless we have learned to receive it. How can we give true joy until we are filled up with it? It is bubbling over, and we cannot help but exude it, because we can't force it on people. Take this, take my joy. You're unhappy, you need this. We can't give them peace. Here, you're too chaotic. Take my peace. You need this more than I do. But when we embrace and step into our joy and our peace, when it bubbles over, people who need that especially, will come up to us. They will stand next to us. And we don't even have to say anything. We just can be. We can just be right where we are, doing exactly what we are doing. And know there is God right there. God created all that there is. God whispered the name of the planets and the galaxies and the solar systems, the grains of sand, the oceans, the creatures. God whispered their names and they became. And God whispered our names. And here we are. We became. But as we are told, we are the only creatures that are made in the image and likeness of God itself. And what does that mean? That we look like God? I don't think so. I know God isn't a man up there in the sky pulling my puppet strings. And it's not a woman. I don't think so. God is that life force that is made visible through each and every one of us. God whispers unto itself and creates itself out of itself, and we are made to create. In this time of year, we remember to create love, to create peace, to create joy. We have to exude it, create it for ourselves so much that it bubbles over, and we are that place of peace regardless of how dark the night is. In the middle of winter, and the nights are the longest, the days are the shortest, we know that there is something coming. In Kwanzaa, they light the candles for the first fruits. They trust in something that is yet unseen, knowing that the first fruits of spring are coming. They can't see it yet. It is not made manifest yet. But we don't just pray, I hope this year spring comes. I hope. Cross your fingers. We know, and we celebrate it in the darkest night. We celebrate the knowing of the truth, even when we can't see it. And this time of year, yes, we know that there are shadows. There is darkness. There are things happening that don't represent the best in humanity. But if we react in unhappiness or anger or resentment, even if we react in joy or happiness, that isn't our true nature when we react to things from that place of duality, of opposites. But when we stand in the truth of who we are, and we exude from right where we are, doing exactly what we're doing, seeing God in it, we give that gift to the planet. We give love, of course, to our families, of course, to our children, so that they celebrate this Christ presence at Christmas. But we want to have enough to give to the planet. When we remember our true relationship, our true relationship with the divine, then we can give those gifts. And we recognize that Jesus represented the divine pattern, the divine archetype. Sometimes we call it the Christ consciousness. The divine archetype of love. Knowing that he was God made manifest. Yes, aren't we all? God is forever creating itself. He taught us to remember that love is the creative force in the universe. He loved everyone. He loved sinners and saints. He saved and helped the Samaritans, who were considered by his people unclean, the worst of the worst. He saved this centurion, the Roman centurion soldier's son. He ate dinner with tax collectors and prostitutes. He broke bread. He loved everyone because he did not see boundaries. He could not name anyone as other than the child of God. We are the children of the divine, and that's what we remember at Christmas. The love of Jesus the man. He reminds us all the time in all these songs. It is a celebration. It's a time to celebrate. When they took Jesus, when he said, I and my Father are one, the Jewish elders came and they took him to stone him, to throw stones at him until he died. And he said, for which of my great works that I do in the name of the Father do you stone me? And they said, oh no, not for your great works are we going to stone you, but because you liken yourself unto God, the Almighty. And he looked at them and he said, is it not written in your scriptures, in your laws, ye are gods? He reminded them, ye are gods. And they knew it. They had read the laws. They knew that this is said from David in Psalms. Ye are gods. We are gods. We are gods. Everyone on the planet, this creation of humanity, is God expressed. Jesus was not created any differently than you or I. The same mind that was in Jesus is the mind that is available to, in, and through us. The divine love that Jesus expressed is the love that is available to us right now, right where we are, doing exactly what we are doing, being with whomever we are with, waiting for us to claim it, to act on it. And the joy that was available to Jesus is the joy that we can claim. And the perfect peace that was Jesus's is our perfect peace to claim right now. When we realize the joy, there is joy. We experience it in our lives. And when we realize peace, we experience peace. And when we realize unconditional love, we experience unconditional love to the point where we do not ask for it. We do not demand it of people. We don't even give it. We just exude it. We are unconditional love that heals the planet. And what does that word realize? When we realize something, we make it real. We make it real in our life. We go from that divine archetype of the Christ consciousness, the Christ principle, and we make it active and finite. We go from the infinite to the finite. When we realize it, we make it real for us in this moment, doing just what we are doing, being with whomever we are with, and seeing God. We call this divine archetype the Christ consciousness, especially this time of year at Christmas. But if we were born somewhere else in the world, we might be celebrating the Krishna consciousness or the Shiva consciousness or any one of the 300,000 Hindu gods. We might be celebrating them today. The divine pattern, the divine archetype that was within all of us. If we were born even somewhere else, we might be calling it the Buddha consciousness or your Buddha nature, recognizing the Buddha in everyone. And yet elsewhere in the world, we would say the Tao, that which cannot be named, I see in you. I see it and I feel it, I know it, I recognize in you the Tao. We might honor Lao Tzu. And in Kabbalah, they call it the Ayin consciousness, nothing, the nothing consciousness. Very Buddhist of them. It's also similar. And a great Christian mystic, I think it was John of the Cross, said when one is brought to nothing, the Ayin consciousness, when one is brought to nothing, the greatest of humility, only then will one's soul and God be united. What does that mean? When we are brought to the greatest humility, nothing. Well, it means when we stop the I am, I want, I must have, I want to do, I. When we let go of the I, when we realize I am not even this. When we embrace the we, the us. When we see God in all that there is, we let go of this little tiny self, this little pinpoint, this finite spot of humanity. And I recognize the infinite of humanity, the infinite of life on the planet. The planet itself, we know, is breathing and alive. Okay, maybe not breathing, but to me, it's breathing and alive. When we see God in that, our souls are united. This is the time. This is the time at Christmas to remember, to recognize, to recognize who and what we are, the truth of our being, to claim our godhood, our sonship. Meister Eckhart, who was a Christian mystic, said God never begot just one son. The eternal, that which we call God, is forever begetting the only begotten. God is forever begetting its son and daughters in life. It is forever begetting itself. The Christ consciousness is love. It's just love. Whether we call it Buddha consciousness or Ayin consciousness, it is the power of love that we celebrate in this season. And Jesus was the highest and best example of ourselves, made manifest, made present on the earth. We could say the Buddha, if we were somewhere else in the world. We could say Lao Tzu. We could say any number of saints. There's so many beautiful Sufi saints. We could claim them, but this month and right here and right now, because I grew up the way I did, I'll call it this month the Christ consciousness. Edgar Cayce said the example set by Jesus is the pattern of wholeness for each and every soul. A rose by any other name. The consciousness by any other name is the enlightened consciousness and is our birthright. The transformative power of this Christ consciousness at Christmas is palpable. We can all feel it. This is the time to stand up and rejoice with our families, to stand in joy, to stand in the peace that passes human understanding, to look at the light at the top of the tree, to sing when we light the candles of the menorah, remembering that they go beyond our human understanding. We think they're going to last for 24 hours, but they keep going. Like in Kwanzaa, we see something that is not made manifest yet in celebrating the fruits of the spring. We celebrate the fruits of who and what we are, even though we haven't made it fully or completely manifest yet. We know it's there. So we celebrate. We celebrate the truth in ourselves and in each other. Regardless of our personal religious beliefs, don't the holidays just make you want to sing and dance? It really does. I feel like this is the time of year where we gather ourselves up. We remember the truth of who we are. We pray. We give it out. And there are songs written. We're going to hear one today that John Lennon wrote. Happy Christmas. War is over. Because if we don't believe that now, how do we make it manifest for that time in the future? We know the future doesn't exist. There is only right now and right here. There is only the truth of who we are as we claim it. Doing what we're doing, being with whomever we're with, and seeing God. And those songs, we are the world, we are the children. And what was the other one? Feed the world. We can feed the world. We recognize that. We state our truths now in this season. We state our truths. We claim our wholeness. We share our gifts of joy, of peace, and of unconditional love. This is the time. And in January, we'll figure out how to make it all manifest. Now we just claim it. We sit in it. We rest in it. We revel in it. We celebrate. And so it is. So it is. Thank you.